Sometime when the 2020 two geeks from social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. Bringing you a weekly live show, toy, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions, reveals, releases, thoughts, maybe dreams. Now prepare for the Geek Week in Review.
Hello, it's Geek Week in Review. It's the Sunday show, of course, with me, Jacob's Toys, and SuperSorrell, the one and only. Almost didn't say it there, sorry. Almost didn't say it. Hello, everyone in the chat. If you're new to watching the show, then this is Geek Week. We talk about everything that's happened in the week in regards to television, movies, toys, reveals, releases, all that jazz. And we have a special guest tonight. We have got an interview with Ramen Toys. So we'll get onto that in a second. If you're watching us on catch up, then of course, thanks very much for tuning in. Try to catch a live show one day. It's a lot of fun. Very quickly to the people in the comments, let's just give a couple of shout outs while I see it. We've got Joby one in there just dropping in to say hello, showing some love. We've got Shelley as always. We've got Andy Roberts. We've got Andy H. We've got Andrew Orr. It's all the Andys. How's everyone doing? We will get to comments and stuff in a bit. We go out across a handful of different platforms, so if you can't see the other people's comments, we try our best to throw them up on the screen when we can, just because it doesn't matter where you're watching us as long as you're tuning in and joining in. So there we go.
Guess why we call them the Andes?
The Andes. Andy H has just shouted up there, look, is it a giveaway or a guest tonight? Well, Andy H, it's a guest. All right. We did a giveaway last week, and this week we're doing a guest. All right. No, we got some exciting news in regards to the guest, haven't we, Sorrel?
Yeah. It's really good news.
Yeah, we've got we've kind of been speaking to a handful of different toy companies, and we're going to be doing some interviews with a number of different toy companies over the coming weeks. Today, of course, being Ramen Toys. We decided to kind of go for some of the how do you put it? What's the PC way?
So, like everyone else on the YouTube scene tends to go for the likes of NECA, McFarlane, Hasbro. We've decided to move away from that, and we want to go for the third-party brands, if you will. So the likes of your Trick or Treat Studios, your Super Sevens, but Ramen Toys being one of the smaller ones of the companies, without being rude. And there are a handful of others as well that we want to get in touch with and get them on the show.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's always cool doing the big ones and interviewing the big ones, and we've obviously had the privilege and the pleasure of being able to speak to the big ones in the past. But we just thought for the Geek Week, it's kind of cool to kind of speak to some of these smaller ones and these kind of not lesser known ones, but like Ramen Toys is a good example. They kind of popped up on the scene like this time last year when there was the whole HasLab and Engine of Vengeance thing going on, and since then have just become a real popular one. They've got a really cool like sewer diorama thing going on as well at the moment. So we'll pop that interview up in a little bit anyway, so you guys can watch and see what we talked about. Couple of other things to talk about this week. We saw the finale of Ahsoka.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
it was good. I enjoyed it.
And the premiere of episode 1 of Loki.
Yeah, and I have watched it. Woo!
Did you catch it? Yeah. Did you catch it? Good. Yeah, no, I did. I caught it on the day it came out. I was very excited for Loki. Let's talk Ahsoka. Let's jump straight in, because that's what the internet's really been kind of talking about this week, because it was good. It was a good episode. What you expected?
No, it ended very weirdly. I didn't expect that ending, but I enjoyed that ending. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good ending. A lot of people said it was an unsatisfying ending, but I liked the way they closed it off. I liked the fact that they left it kind of open.
You know what I thought was really clever about it is that they kind of left it on a big cliffhanger, but it felt like all of the story arcs were kind of completed. That makes sense. Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems with a lot of these shows at the moment, because let's be honest, in the last couple of years, having the streaming sites and things like Disney Plus really kind of taking off, they've been able to give us kind of short form content, if you like, of these big properties, where we always used to have to wait for a movie or wait for the next thing. and a lot of them kind of end on cliffhangers or kind of like coming in season 2 and all that kind of stuff. Whereas I don't know, this one didn't feel like that.
Yeah, the thing is, if they did send everybody home and everybody made it back all happy clappy, yeah, everyone's home, then that means the Rebels cast are there to stop the First Order from taking over. Right now, you've just taken one of the most powerful Jedis that are currently in existence, which is Ahsoka, and basically marooned her on a planet.
Yeah.
Which, in writers' terms, that's a way of removing her from the current timeline so that they can do the whole First Order thing without her around. So they're not jeopardizing her character. Same with now we know that the Rebel we know the Rebels fleet are going to try and save them, so they're too busy to take on the Empire, to kind of stop that side of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I reckon that we're gonna in the Mandoverse, that's going to be their version of the storyline, which leaves the other side of the galaxy and Luke open to do the whole Kylo Ren thing.
Yeah. I thought it was really clever. I thought it was a really clever way of that kind of working. Because go on.
I would say guaranteed when we get back to these characters, the idea will have been some time has passed. Ahsoka has finished Sabine's training, so the next time we see Sabine, I think she'll be a full-fledged Jedi. And I think that's why they've done that. They've kind of left them in an area where Sabine's not got no distractions. She knows Ezra's safe, he's sent home, and she can now focus. And we saw at the end of the episode she used the Force for the first time and actually used it properly. So she's starting to develop. So I reckon they'll develop her character into a fully fledged Jedi, and we may even see that. Like when we saw Luke go to Dagobah and then he's with Yoda, and then Yoda passes away on that planet. I think this might be Ahsoka's swan song, to be honest. I think she'll see Sabine's training through, and I think the next time we catch up with them might be a time gap, and that's Ahsoka starting to age now.
Oh, that could be interesting.
It could be cool. It'd be nice homage to. Imagine that scene of where she's growing old and she sort of starts to fade into the Force, and if she's reunited with Yoda or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's brought back into the Jedi fold in death kind of thing.
I'm just imagining Ahsoka as like an Avenue Q type puppet now.
Don't. I love Avenue Q far too much.
No, can you imagine? An Ahsoka Avenue Q puppet in the death scene, to pay real homage to the Yoda scene. No, I think that's really interesting though. I really do. But it is, I mean, she's so powerful and so kind of at the forefront of it all. It's just a really, really awesome way of keeping her out of that new trilogy kind of storyline and everything, and just allowing that to kind of make sense still. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to build stories around that, so that the newer trilogy aren't as bad as everyone sees them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it will kind of it'll be a good chapter in the bigger story. Whereas obviously when they came out, they were just the standalone. That's all they had. They had no supporting act, did they? Whereas if they kind of build this big story around them, What about Balin then? What do you reckon to that ending for him?
This is so right. Do you remember the episodes in Clone Wars with the father, the son, and the daughter?
Yeah.
It's that basically. That big statue is the father.
Yeah, and it had the son next to it, didn't it?
Yeah, and it tried to get Anakin to become the next father. And Anakin stopped, didn't go through with it. I think Balin will go through with it. And I think this could be a very cool way of how they're going to get around his death in real life. Because basically, if he goes into a temple and they use some body double CGI thing, basically have him become the father or the great Jedi or whatever you want to call it. And he basically becomes balance of the Force, and he can evolve into something else. They can just change the actor and call it an act of the Force because of the power he's taken on board or something. And they could change the actor out pretty easily.
That'd be very cool. That would be very cool.
But I think this is definitely their way of trying to bring the Grey Jedi into canon.
What was the little light on the mountain that he was looking at? That's the only thing I couldn't put my finger on. I was racking my brains, and I had a little scour on the internet, and I was just like, am I supposed to know something here? Am I missing something?
Something's calling to him. It could be a kyber crystal, it could be a holocron.
Yeah.
Something's calling to him.
What did you think of the the zombie stormtrooper thing?
That was cool.
I thought you would. I was
was
watching it, I was like, yeah, Sorrell's gonna like this scene. Just like
Well,
that
the
helmet off
paid.
and the
We've already had zombie Jedi in books and things in the past. Sorry, zombie Star Stormtroopers. They wrote books
Yeah.
around it. So I mean, that's a cool little paying homage to those legacy stories that we're never going to see in live action. That's their way of putting that in for us.
yeah, definitely. And then the two black ones as well that are fighting, they were really cool because you actually saw the zombie element of them underneath the mask, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it as a TV show. I really enjoyed it, and I don't think there's any talk at the minute of season 2, is there? There's not. Is
Not
there?
at the minute.
No.
But I'm guessing there will be. I think there's going to be one more Mando season and one more Ahsoka season before the movie.
Yeah. The only
Just to
character
bring the stories together.
The only character I didn't feel I kind of got a payoff with was what was Balin's apprentice called?
Yeah, her storyline's kind of just ended a little bit weirdly.
Like she's just kind of been left there, hasn't she?
What's she called? Shin?
Yeah, something like that. But she was just, you didn't really see what happened. Like she had obviously been like deserted by Balin, didn't she? And deserted by Thrawn, and it was just kind of like, what's going on with her?
Yeah, Balin kind of just abandoned her.
Yeah.
She was going down a different path to him. I think she was going down the more Sith path, and he couldn't follow that because he wants to remain balanced.
Yeah.
He's clearly, I've been saying that from the start, he's clearly still, he's not a bad guy. He's just doing mercenary work. He's not a bad dude, though. So I think he's still playing that middle card, that mid ground, where she's gone. She's already gone onto the dark side.
There was things on the internet I saw earlier as well that Balin and Snook or Snock, not Snock. Snock? Who the fuck is Snock?
Snook.
Yeah, but they both got the same ring. I was reading reading an article where they both got the same kind of hand jewelry, which a bit of a long shot, but let's just grasp at real straws there. I was like, but that's what I really love. I love it when a show comes out and then there's like every article you read is some kind of other theory or some kind of other.
It could be the black kyber crystal that's calling to him. I mean, he could mine the black kyber crystal that eventually Snoke has. That could be the thing. Yeah,
I think the father thing's probably a much better. Better.
It was a story that. So right, there's some legacy stories about the father and the son, and there's another one. I'm gonna have to quickly Google it. But there was some books written in the legacy series about them, and there was another character that was worse than all three of them. Was he called like Mortis? So yeah, Mortis I think was worse than all of them, and I think Balin's going to become the father.
Yeah,
Ahsoka is going to become the daughter, and something to do with Mother Talzin or something she does will be the son, basically, because that's the Sith, the Jedi, the middle. Yeah. And then there's this other thing called Mortis, and I think that is Abeloth. Sorry, Abeloth, not Mortis. Yes, Abeloth. Sorry, thank you, Joey. And I think Abeloth will be the next big bad, basically, and that they all have to work together to take this Abeloth out.
Cool, that'd be cool.
But yeah, there's like another big. Oh yeah, I've quickly googled Abeloth, also known as the Bringer of Chaos. He was the main antagonist in the expanded universe Legacy of Fate of the Jedi. So the fact that we've already seen bits of these storylines brought in from Legacy to Clone Wars to Rebels, this would just finish that journey off by bringing back the fourth one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see. I know. So yeah, it was a story that Luke Skywalker was in and stuff like that. It was like a big thing. So I mean, if they brought that in, it could be a very cool storyline to explore, retold kind of thing for the new version of the franchise.
Let's give a couple of shout outs quickly. Where's comments popping up? Republic Bounty Hunters in the chat. Bethany Beth, nice to see you again. How we doing? Republic Bounty Hunter just said Anakin's the father because he's always meant to bring balance to the Force. Fair point. You know, I think the thing is though is that there's so much more story now.
As Yoda said, badly written they are.
But yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it as a story, as a show. It's just, yeah, it had me captivated, and I'm really liking everybody's story arc at the moment. Like Ezra was, I was kind of wanting more. I wanted to sort of see more of where that was going, where that had been.
It was
I think
cool
that's
seeing Ezra take off the helmet. I like seeing Ezra in the suit. Obviously, he used to do that in Clone War, in Rebels and stuff. So it's cool to see him don the Stormtrooper armor as a way of disguising everything.
Yeah, that was a nice little. That to me was a real Easter egg. That was like a proper little thing. And like you said, Sabine now being like marooned with Ahsoka. The one thing that I did wonder though is that because obviously we got the Force Ghost kind of payoff as well with Anakin, and there was that really nice kind of mirrored scene from Clone Wars or Rebels. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah,
where he sees her walking away, sort of thing. But Sabine saw something as well, didn't she? She saw something before Ahsoka did, and I'm curious as to what that would be. Do you know what I mean? Or what I think whether there's going to be something more to that. But yeah, it's just cool. How long ago does it feel with that? Was it Morik or what was the Inquisitor called that was in it?
Marek.
And everyone, what was his name?
It's more like Marek, wasn't it? Something.
Marek, that's it. Everyone was, oh, that's going to be Ezra, and like, it was like, you know. But yeah,
I love the name of this episode, by the way, as well. That was just such a little nod.
Yeah,
You see the name of it?
Yeah, it was the Warrior, the Witch, and
the Jedi, the Witch, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord.
Yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Just a couple of people in the chat. We got uncarded reviews. Ace is the best. Ace is coming up in a bit. It's not a live interview. We did the live interview with him a little while ago, so we're just going to play that interview just because the time difference is quite extreme. So to get him onto our show would have just been unfathomable. So we decided to do it a little bit earlier. So yeah. What about Loki? Let's talk Loki quick. I didn't really know what to expect from the first episode. To be fair, I didn't know where they were going to go with it, but it interested me. It was okay. When did you catch it? Did you catch it on release or?
Yeah, I watched it the first morning it was out. It was all right. It was all right. It was a bit weird, him popping in and out constantly.
Yeah.
Ended up in different timelines or whatever he's doing, like jumping timelines or something.
Yeah, I was hooked. I was definitely hooked, and I want to see where it's going, but it just didn't feel like there was much momentum yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
think it's because we've seen Ant-Man. We already know.
And
the fact that Ant-Man defeated him, like we said this when Ant-Man came out, the fact that Ant-Man's already kicked his ass already means that he's not that bad.
Yeah.
He's meant to be the big bad that's meant to scare us for the next 10 years. And yet Ant-Man killed him on his own.
Yeah, that's very true. But of course, his character is in the show. Like he is like the bad guy, in the show. Andy H said, "When did Loki drop?" Loki came out on Friday, I think it was.
Yeah, Friday.
So we finished up in Ahsoka on Wednesday, and then Loki came out on the Friday, and then that's coming out every Friday. We've got some rich television though at the moment. Like for anyone that's watching Gen V, the Boys spin-off. That's quite cool. That comes out every Friday, I think, as well. And then we've got Loki now every Friday. Joby one said the one Ant-Man killed wasn't that Kang. So no, he wasn't. But what we said at the time was that it was
it's still a version of him.
Yeah, it was difficult to kind of picture him as this really big bad when we had seen a version of him kind of get beaten up.
Yeah, well, we're kind of like drawing, like when you look back at the idea of
Thanos,
and the fact that we had a 10-year build-up, nobody touched him in that 10 years. He didn't do anything until that final movie when he kicked everyone's absolute ass.
Yeah,
and then everyone. Do you remember that time period when everyone was scared because we didn't know who were going to die? But we knew people were going to die because the fact that they built him up to be such a godlike character badass.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the same about Kang now because the fact that he's been defeated. I know it's not the same one, but yet a version of him has still been defeated by one Avenger, and it's probably the least powerful Avenger.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
He's like a joke, isn't he?
Yeah, it just felt like the threat level's a bit lower this time around.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult. I'm just getting my box out. Cole.
What's in the box?
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, X-Men have arrived.
Yes. Yes. All right. I got it. All right. I keep being asked if I got the X-Men 97 wave. I got it. I got it. And it's not been opened yet, but it's a cool looking wave. But yeah, I don't know. I think the difficulty as well with the Marvel kind of property, if you like, is that it's not very strong. There's not a very strong offering at the moment, is there? Like when we had the kind of Infinity build up, every single film kind of led to it. Every single piece of information we were getting was something to do with what's going to go on in Infinity War, what's going to go on in Endgame, you know, where's it going, all that kind of stuff. Whereas with this, it all seems a little bit kind of convoluted, is that the right word? Where it's all just a bit of a mix, you know. And I don't know, I don't feel the threat. I don't feel the threat level yet of Kang. So obviously reading him in the comic books, I know that there's definitely a threat level there. But
they've yet to show us that on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of Jonathan Majors comments there. Throw them up, why not? Andy H said, I think Jonathan Majors playing Jonathan Majors would be a bit more of a big scary big bad. Republic Bounty Hunter has gone. Jonathan Majors literally took his method acting too far. And then Republic also said Richard Timely is the most dangerous Kang to come. That is true. It is, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. I just think it's a shame that everything is kind of circling around the series because we don't know how much of an effect that's had on what we see and what's released and all the rest of it. Talking about what's released and cuts and stuff, I actually watched the Zack Snyder cut for the first time this week.
Oh, Justice League.
Yeah, I've actually never got around to watching it because it is like sort of 7.5 days long. So it's one of them ones where you kind of need to have a good amount of time to sort of sit there and watch. And man, like I know I'm well behind with this, but how much better was that movie than the original one? Like, wow.
All the Joker scenes are cool too.
Yeah, and just all the other little nods to the, you know, like the Martian Manhunter and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, they were clearly on something, but obviously studio intervention is what stopped it.
Yeah, definitely.
The same could be said about the Exorcist new movie, by the way.
What? That it's not as good. What's it called? Exorcist is
the Believer or Believer, and I went to see that this weekend.
Yep,
and it was all right, but the legacy characters weren't needed. They weren't needed. You know, a bit like it seems that ever since they did Halloween, and they brought Laurie back because it made sense. It was a completion of her story arc. It made sense.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to do the same with other horror franchises, and it just doesn't work. Like we didn't need to see what's she called, McNeil again. We didn't need to see her.
Yeah.
She's just in, and the fact that this time round,
yeah.
But this time round they did a.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, my camera angle is really weird. I just don't touch my camera angle. It'll just fall again. But no, it's like this time around when they did The Exorcist as well, it felt a bit like they assembled the God Squad to take them out.
Oh, really?
So like, you know, well, normally it's based on Catholicism, isn't it? It's Catholic. Mm-hmm. It's the whole, you know, the devil shall be gone from you, demon. Well, now it's a case of we've got, you know, an African voodoo woman, we've got a priest from Catholicism, we've got a priest from a like gospel church, and we've assembled the God Squad to take out the demon children.
That sounds amazing, like a religious Justice League.
Yeah, so basically they didn't just keep it in the Catholic faith. They brought other faiths into it. It was a bit weird. Wow. But the ending's where it's at.
Okay.
But the annoying thing is we know there's a freaking sequel already, which irritates me.
Because they've done Pet Sematary as well, haven't they? Done like Bloodlines.
I can't wait to watch that tomorrow. That's my viewing tomorrow.
Is that on your Halloween checklist? Is that tomorrow's one?
Yep.
Oh, I might watch it as well then, just so we can talk about it afterwards.
Pet Cemetery Bloodlines.
Yeah,
That's
it
tomorrow.
does look good. Pet Cemetery messed me up as a kid, so I'm a little bit hesitant. Yeah,
You need to watch Totally Killer. Have you seen that yet?
Totally Killer. Oh, is that the
On
one with the
Amazon
new?
Prime.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's the Back to the Future of Scream movies. That's all you need to know. It's the Back to the Future of Scream.
Okay.
It's
I can
funny
get
as
behind
it's
that.
funny as hell, and it's funny and it's like a horror film all in one.
We discussed it, didn't we? We said about it being like the mask was very purge-like and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The other film as well that's come out that I haven't fully watched it, I've just started it, is the No One Can Save You. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that yet. Is that the one about the aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen
It's
that one
on
Amazon, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's Amazon Prime. It's on one of the streaming sites anyway. Oh no, it might be Disney. It might be Disney Plus. It might be a
Disney?
Star. Yeah. Star Original. But yeah, it's supposed to be quite good, but I don't know. I do like an alien film. Just a quick one. LN Studio Clips in the chat. It said, wow, both your collections look amazing in the background. Thanks very much. Mine's a printout. And Sorrel is a green screen.
Mine's at a weird angle.
Yeah. I'm actually clearing mine out a little bit now. Oh, he's touched it. He's touched the camera. Don't touch the camera.
It's because I'm really high up.
There you go. It's still
I've made it worse. I've made it worse.
That's fine.
I should still at this now.
My favorite figure, I've started clearing mine out now, so I've put some of my helmets on display as well. But my favorite figure at the moment this year is the Hot Toys Moon Knight. Like, it is insanely cool, and I printed out, or I got a friend of mine to print out 2 of these. I can never pronounce them. Obelisks. Yeah. So I've got 2 of them, like about 9 inches tall, just either side of him. But he's really good. Are you going to show us what's in the bag there?
I am. So I went to Comic Con today.
Nice.
I was at Comic Con today in Sheffield, and I got 3 really cool items. I will be doing a haul video in a couple of days. I've got some other stuff to show off as well. So this is a little bit of a preview for people that are watching the lives tonight. But we've got the Halloween 2 box set. Nice. Which has got, Loomis in there. We need a bit of Loomis.
Oh, wicked. Oh, that pumpkin looks good.
Yeah. So you can never have too many pumpkins in the collection.
No.
I got the brand new Elvira pot, 40th anniversary Elvira pot.
Nice.
And possibly my favourite thing I've bought this year. Let's play a little game.
Ah.
The Living Dead doll of Billy.
That's cool. That is cool. That kind of works as a Living Dead doll as well.
Yeah. Let's play a little game, Sorrel.
Yeah. Okay. Cue for a whole bunch of TikToks of.
I know. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "That is TikTok fodder right there, people."
Yeah. Hands down. Right.
Annabelle Escapes and Annabelle Escapes is one series, and we're about to have SuperSorrell plays a game.
Just be careful how you word the tagline in that, because that could be flagged as inappropriate.
Well, I did. Well, if anything's going to be flagged as inappropriate, it's got to be them Scream things I keep doing. Eventually, someone's going to ban me at some point for them.
Yeah. It's all good fun. So right, in the thumbnail of this particular episode, we said that we are talking with Ramen Toys. So I think we should jump to that interview now. Yeah. Obviously, you guys can watch it. We're going to be here still. Comment along, and we'll get to your comments afterwards. But it is with Ace from Ramen Toys. It's quite an interesting interview, I think. So without further ado, let me just try and share my screen here. Cool. You ready?
Today we're joined by a very special guest. We have Ace with us here on Ramen Toys products. Ace, how you doing?
Hey, Ash, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
No worries at
No
all.
problem. Thanks for coming on board. So, Ace, for anyone that hasn't heard about you and your company, what is it that you guys do? What is Ramen Toy?
Well, thanks, Jacob, once again for having me on the show. So ourselves, and that's basically properties from the 80s nostalgia. Obviously, I am a child of the 80s, currently on 46 years of age. So back in the day, the cartoons, the toys that I was, I guess I was relating to, and then I find that they are not really being represented in this day and age. So I
Mhm.
thought to myself and my partners that hey, let's do something. There's lots of third-party transformers that's already in the market. So maybe we can go that route. We can just go do something that's third-party, because obviously to get a proper license, there's lots of steps involved. It's not as simple as just going out and getting a license. We're a small outfit, just a few guys. So yeah, we started in 2021, and we basically put our heads together, found some creative designers to come up with the 80s Commanders, our very first project that we put on Facebook. Basically, without much of any hope, just putting something out there. Have some prototypes done, promote it as best as we could, and then the rest is history, because everybody seems like there's a good group of people who like what we're doing, and then
Mhm.
they bought into the concept of the 80s Commanders. That allowed us to make our first production. We delivered on that, and we subsequently went on to do the other stuff that you see on our archives.
Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. No, there's some really good stuff. I mean, again, as a child of the 80s myself, there's some of the figures that you're putting out. Like I've quite often talked about the Centurions cartoon. That was a big favorite of mine, mainly because one of them was called Jake. So as a kid, I was kind of, well, that's me. But there hasn't been a good modern equivalent toy released. The best you can get are those retro toys from back in the 80s. So seeing
Mhm.
what you guys have put out there, I mean, you've got quite a few. I think it's about 4 or 5 that you've got out, four or five
Mhm.
different characters now.
Yeah.
And they're brilliant. They're brilliant. I personally first came across you with the racer, the Ramen Racer that was
Right.
released. There's a lot of talk about that on the internet because recently, without sort of saying any names, there was another toy company that attempted to to make one, and it didn't go as planned. And there was quite a few disappointed people out there. And then, just like a phoenix from the flames, this Ramen Racer appeared, and everybody was talking about it. And I think one of the biggest selling points was the price point, that what you were able to provide for the money that you were able to, for the money that you're asking for people. Am I right in believing that they are essentially crowdfunded, that you need a certain amount of people to buy into them to put into production, or do you just produce something and then look for the customers afterwards?
Well, basically, the whole idea behind the Ramen Racer was because I felt that in that particular point in time, I was involved very much in the toy community in terms of going to various channels to check out all you guys, including yours,
Mhm.
right? So I was looking at people's comments on the project, and then I felt that there was lots of people who actually wanted this thing to actually be delivered. Only method is that the price point was a bit of a concern, but
Mhm.
obviously in the end the campaign was not funded. And then I saw that there was like 5,000 people who actually backed the project. So I was thinking to myself, could I actually harness 1,000 plus of those people, of the 5,000, and that'll be enough for us, because we are not um, aiming for big MOQs, right? As long as
Mhm.
we get the minimum quantity done, which is about 1,000 plus 2,000, will be good. So I was actually looking and banking on the fact that if there's 5,000 people that were interested in this, I just need 2,000, right?
Mhm.
Because seriously, 1,000 just doesn't really do it for us. It's just like break even. So 2,000 was the goal, and we set out to do this. We moved very quickly from the 3D model to the actual prototype. We even changed it up along the way, in a sense that we did something just to mimic what the people want, and then along the way there was like considerations for, okay, if you don't actually want this thing with the flames, you just want it for the car, then what can we do? So we actually introduce modular component so that you can actually get the interchange pack and change your ramen racer into something else. If you want to get the exact thing that failed, then you can actually go and get the infernal pack, and then it has the flame effects and stuff like that. So that was a whole campaign to get as many people from different from the menu, right? Give them a list of things on the menu so that it's not just going after exactly one demographic of collectors, but rather more, and spread ourselves out more. So the more options that we have, the likely that we get going to be more successful in terms of getting the orders. And that's what happened. And along the way, we just again listened to the collector, and they said, "Oh, it's no point without a figure." Then we're like, "Okay, we don't want to really mess into this, because at a point of time, I just wanted to come up with the car to sort of challenge myself in terms of, if this was going to be this price from the other company, and it was a concern of the cost of the price, what can we do, right? Would we also come up with the same price, right? Because I wouldn't know until I get the prototype done, I get the costing, get the tooling costing done, get the production costing done. So in the end of the day, we were able to do it at this price, right? So 250 was the calculated retail price, but as always, Ramen Toy offers the early bird price, which is the best possible price that we can offer from a B2C perspective. So we did that campaign for about a month. We got like 1,500 plus orders, and that was enough, right? That was enough to bring us across the 1,000 threshold, gearing towards 2,000. Currently, it's at 1,673. Not quite 2,000 yet, but I believe that once we have the second test shot that's going to be out in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be showing off again on video. You can see it for yourself. We actually did the first test shot at PowerCon. That was really a rough one. And then this second test shot should really show you the whole thing. And then I'm going to send it off to a couple of channels to review it. And then hopefully, once the reviewers give their comments, we should be able to get a few more orders. And then hopefully we can get to the 2,000 mark, because the 2,000 mark will actually put us in a position to deliver the next step of our so-called promise that we will put a figure out for crowdfunding. That's
amazing. Amazing.
But I love the fact that your version of the racer as well, if you will, also comes in black, and you can get it in orange. See if you want to go for the General Lee rather than you got a bit of Dukes of Hazzard in your life, you can go for the orange version, which I think is really cool as well, and hits that nostalgia 80s factor big time for me. Was the orange one?
Go on, Ace. Sorry.
Yeah. So the orange variant is a part of that menu, right? Instead of just giving you one option, now we are giving you two options, right? So you have another option if you are not totally interested at all with the whole project, but you're interested in a generally car, then you have the basis of which you can work on to get something like that done for your collection.
Yeah. Actually, one of my friends I know has ordered two. He's ordered one in black and one in orange. So when I was speaking to him, and I was like, the black ones, it's coming to me. I've got it. I've got this in. I've got this in. And he's like, yeah, I've got the black and the orange. I was like, had to go one up. But I think that's such an interesting business model as well, because one of the big things with the community, the toy collecting community, and the crowd-funded project is that it's kind of offered as a this is the thing, and if we get this many people, we'll offer extra thing here and there. The idea of a menu where you can kind of come onto the website and actually go, well, I want this piece, I want this piece, and I want this piece, and it adds up the price is incredible. It's such a good business plan, and I think it will do extremely well, because as I said, one of the biggest comments that comes back is, well, I really want this, but I'm not worried about this and this. And then what you do is you see people trying to sell those pieces to justify the price and stuff like that. So to actually be able to go on and purchase pieces individually is fantastic. It's a really good idea. But the detail in the car as well is phenomenal. It really is. Like, it's not a cheap version. It's, of what was obviously put out there originally. It's, in my opinion, it's a more superior version of what we originally had on the plate, because of all the things that it can do. So I'm really excited to get it in hand. I really am.
Thank you.
And I hope you thought about maybe doing a red and green version for the horror fans. The Freddy car at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street.
We'll look at that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm scrolling here. I mean, obviously, you've covered quite a few. So there's like Brave Star figures. You've covered the I can't remember the name. Was it the sheriff, or you
The
had a name
Marshal?
for him?
Yeah.
The Marshal. There we go. Yeah. So that was obviously a big cartoon. It was growing up as well. Fantastic cartoon. So to see him out there, and Mask as well. You've covered that with your version of like some of the Mask cars. What's next, Ace? Is there a pipeline of ideas? Have you got kind of things floating around, or are they all a bit hush hush?
Well, we wanted to go all the way just third party, but as we can see that along the way we do meet with some resistance, such as the C&D that is being served to us, right? So we got a cease and desist for the Maverick character. That thing is the first cease and desist that we got. And then for some reason they decided that Paramount decided that even our generic stands that we thought were generic enough, the stands for the sewer and the stands for the street alley, those two little stands that we actually propped up TMNT figures against, to sort of tell you guys that you can display your TMNT figures against these backdrops. So basically we're just trying to sell backdrops, right?
Yeah.
So we got a cease and desist for that for some reason. And then followed by the Machina, Red Gullwing. We got cease and desist from Hasbro. And then now the latest cease and desist is from Mattel, where we showed off our He-Man and Skeletor sculpts at PowerCon, which, by the way, we did not sell, right? We just showed it off as an art form, right? We were at a convention that was pioneered by Motu, and we were just thinking that it would be fitting for us to show something in that regards at a show for the fans. And then we got a C&D shortly after, and that C&D even tell us that Mattel would definitely not grant us any license. We've not even asked for the license yet, because we are working with an agent that was trying to get us into the door with Mattel. And then the latest C&D that we got is again from Mattel, and they are going after our most powerful stand in the universe and the Master of the Verse hits, which is kind of strange because in that C&D, the lawyer mentioned that he has repeatedly told us that we have infringed on the copyrights, and yet we're going ahead to do this kind of stuff. But no, the stands and the hits were done before PowerCon. So I'm not sure how he got his facts, all mixed up. At the same time, the stands were just meant to show you that you can display your Motu figures against, and the whole idea of showing that the card back from Mattel was to show you that you can actually insert the card back into the stand as a form of play. Of course, obviously, we used the image of the card, which had the Masters of the Universe logo for all to see. And I guess to a commoner who doesn't know what's happening, they may have thought, or rather the solicitor may have thought that we were actually selling Masters of the Universe logo product, which is not the case, right?
Yeah.
So it's just strange, but obviously, so that is the explanation that if we were to carry on this way of doing things, then we'll be met with all these obstructions. So obviously, we are going to evolve our business model in a sense that we are now looking to do our own IP. So as you are asking me, what's ahead, we are actually working hard now to develop our own IP. And then I think when we are ready to do it, we are ready to do it. We're just on our way developing it. And the first IP that we're doing is the Titanium Titans. Okay, so the Titanium Titans was originally a third-party name that we had for the Silverhawks, because before getting the Silverhawks license with Super 7, which didn't actually last very long, right? That something happened over there, and we were not able to actually get the license for Silverhawks. through Super
Mhm.
7. So that actually had a streaking halt to our development on that particular aspect. And then we thought that, okay, if we're not going to be doing it in Silverhawks, and then there's so much demand from the fans for us to continue the line and make the other Silverhawks characters, we thought to ourselves, okay, we're going to do it, but we're going to rename it as Titanium Titans, the third party name for Silverhawks. But along the way, when we attended PowerCon and we saw many indie companies coming up with their own stuff, then we thought to ourselves, okay, we have something here. We can actually make our own stuff using the Titanium Titans concept, and we're going to be showing you exactly what we'll be doing. Come, I think, February. We're currently working on the concepts. There is going to be a comic involved, and then that will be the next step of Ramen Toy going forward to introduce our own IP. Now, having said that, okay, we are also actively pursuing licenses. So another crowdfund that failed was the Jurassic Park gates, and again, I was already on the case with doing the 3D model for the Jurassic Park gates, but we were not going to straight away do it like the Ramen Racer. We actually went to get Universal to get us a license, well, through an agent, to get the Jurassic Park license for this particular gate. So as we speak on this recording now, the proposal is being considered by Universal. Right, there's a hefty licensing fee involved, but again, we were willing to investigate and go that route so that we can get ourselves legit, so to speak. So getting ourselves licensed is one part of the progress, but of course we still want to do the third party stuff for as long as we are not able to get the license to make the stuff that we want to make, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Admittedly, as a collector that's been in the game a long time, I actually prefer when companies like yourselves come out with something unique and original, because you see all the Jurassic Park stuff, you see all the stuff from Hasbro, and that's what we're kind of moving away from bit by bit as collectors. Because I've been in the game a long time, I've collected everything there is to collect, and kind of when you see something new and unique that's nostalgic of the past but is something new, that draws me in more. So like I think like the what are they called? The Action Force line that came out about a couple of years ago. That has been absolutely killing it with all their third party stuff. In fact, it's probably out. It's almost better than the GI Joe product now. So I mean, I like it when I don't want to say smaller companies, but independent companies like yourselves bring out something new and original that we've not seen before. But it's like you say, it's nostalgic of like the Silverhawks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you produce there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very exciting. And the Jurassic Park gates, if the license available and you can pick that up again, I think that'll be another very successful one, because again, it was something that a lot of collectors and children of the of the 80s 90s kind of era, we all wanted a big Jurassic Park gate. Let's be honest. Everybody that grew up watching that film wanted the gate, so it's that's really interesting. That is really exciting. It's a shame about the C&Ds in regards to the stands though, because again, as a collector, one of the biggest gaps in the market, I think, is the way to display figures. And the big companies that kind of just push the toys out over and over again don't think too much about how to display them. And it's again in the Facebook groups, on Instagram, Reddit, all that kind of stuff. One of the biggest questions that always comes up is, where can I get a stand? How can I display this thing? And especially when somebody's spending, anywhere between $20 to $500 on a figure, depending what it is that they're buying, to have something to display it with sometimes can encourage that sale as well. So it seems really kind of silly to kind of put a stop on that, especially when there's no real copyright infringement. So hopefully we'll work past that at some point. So tell people then who are watching, how can they find you, Ace? What's the best way to find products? What's the best way to kind of get involved, get behind things?
Yeah, we are actively on Facebook at facebook.com/Ramen Toy. Obviously, not everybody's on Facebook, so we also have our Instagram account, which is IG_Ramen Toy. And then obviously we're also on YouTube with our channel that's growing, about 2,000 subscribers now, and our website geek.ramentoy.com is where you can actually go and make the purchases.
Fantastic. I'll make sure to put all of those links in the video when this one goes out as well, so that people can check those out. And just
you.
before we say goodbye, Ace,
Mm-hmm.
tell us about the name Ramen Toy. Where did the name come from? It's always interesting to see where people kind of how they came about their name.
Yeah, so originally, I was in Japan at Wonder Festival, and I'm a big Macross fan, and I remember buying the G kits from this particular company or brand or designer, and he calls himself Tanmen, Tanmen. So I asked my Japanese friend to ask him, what is Tanmen? And the reply that I got was, "Oh, it's just soup noodles," because he loved soup noodles. All right, like tan is soup and men is noodles, right? So, okay, I thought that resonated in my mind, and I really myself love ramen. That's for sure. In Japan, I always go for the ramen, the authentic ramen. So I thought, okay, let's just call ourselves Ramen Toy. But along the way, doing what we're doing, I thought that the name ramen actually is it could be an acronym for retro artistic modern 80s nostalgia, and that's what we are here today. Yeah.
Amazing. See, this is why I like to ask that question, because I never would have picked that up. So that is really cool. Ace, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Obviously, we wish you all the best in the future. I hope that everything does go well. I cannot wait to see that rider. I cannot wait to have it in hand. It looks phenomenal. Really do encourage anybody that's kind of on the fence or has heard about you to go and check out the website and just see the array of products. But yeah, thanks very much. Ash, do you want anything you want to say?
No, just once again, thank you very much for coming along, Ace. That's very awesome of you to come along, and we can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thank you, Jacob and Ash. Thank you so much.
Ooh.
There we go. Bit of a delay there in some of it. There was a bit of a lag in there, a bit of it. But hey, that's live video for you and recordings and all the rest of it. But yeah, that was Ace from Ramen Toy. Cool. Just a couple of things there. Couple of comments I want to pull up while that was going on. Andy H said, "Shout out to the 40-something-year-olds who had the cool toys in the 80s." Hey. And the 40-something-year-olds that had the bootleg toys of the cool toys in the 80s, because that was definitely me. My Ninja Turtles Donatello was never the same as the others. Republic Bounty Hunter said as well, plans of making a ramen dankor, as in a rancor. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it definitely sounds like they're going from strength to strength, which is really cool. And it's great to hear that they're working on their own IP as well. That's a really positive sign for a new, because it is a very, very new toy company. And for them to kind of go from strength to strength is really cool. Uncarded Reviews said, cool interview. Andy H, great interview, guys. Thanks very much. Andy H also said, so did I hear that right? He got a C and D for using a generic stand to show what figures would look like against their backdrops. Yes, that is exactly what he said. So just to clarify, what he was talking about was that they used the figures to display the stands. So the stands are, you can see them on their website. They're very, very cool. And they're kind of Masters of the Universe styled stands that the card back can go into and the figure can go on the front. So in order to display them at the toy fair, what they were doing was they put the card back in and they had the toys in front. So for the Joe public walking past, it would look like that's what the offering was, the figure, the branding, and all that kind of stuff. So they gave him a C and D for that, which is a bit rubbish, because like I said in the interview, like to see a stand makes a massive difference. Like it really does make a massive difference on some people making a purchase,
especially when it's a product that Mattel themselves are not actually producing.
No,
that's the thing.
And that's the thing. Hot Toys produce some really good stands with their figures, and they tend to come with the figures. They do them separately as well. So recently there's been a lot of talk about the lizard stand. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No.
But essentially it's a £250 display stand, and it's the lizard kind of in a statue pose, but in scale with the Hot Toy Spider-Man. So
Nice.
if you want to kind of flesh your No Way Home display, you can buy this lizard stand to put your figure on, which is cool. But then you can see here even just like the Mysterio stand that came with the zombie Iron Man. Like, it's a great big
Brilliant,
thing.
that one.
Oh, it's a fantastic stand.
Love that one.
But it does add to the display of the figure. Like my Moon Knight as well, you can see here, like, I know I've printed these out, but the big moon behind him is all part of the offering, so it just adds to the aesthetics of the figures.
You still need to do the shot of the hand coming out of the grave. I'm sorry, I'm still waiting on that one.
I have got to do that one. I will do it. I'll get to it. But it's interesting to see that, you know, the bigger companies are putting out C&Ds to kind of stop these smaller companies, boosting their product, really.
Once upon a time, bootlegs were seen as a bad thing. They were seen as like a knockoff product. Since the birth of 3D printing, it's no longer knockoff product. It's just product that's been made at someone's house.
Yeah,
it's, you know, and people share those things around the collector communities, and before you know it, they're around the world. It's just one of them things. It'll always happen. But I think with the birth of 3D printing, we've had so many cool things that we've been able to do as action figure collectors that I think for the big companies to take the stance of C&Ds is a bit wrong, especially when it's a product they're not producing and have no plans to produce.
No,
I understand if it was blasted with the word Masters of the Universe, but this generally didn't. It's just a purple and red stand. It does look Masters of the Universe-ish, but they can't copyright that stand in any way, shape, or form. It's just a purple blob. But it's the fact that you could put the card backs in that they didn't like.
Yeah, of course. Andy said as well, like Andy H. Sorry, mate, I'm picking on you here and throwing your comments up, but he said, also, can somebody get me off of this site because I'm seriously eyeing up the Marshall. The Marshall figure is a very cool looking figure. So the Marshall is essentially a Brave Star figure. If anyone remembers that cartoon from back in the 80s, it was basically like Space He-Man. Let's be honest. It was a Filmation cartoon. It was He-Man in space. Wild West He-Man in space. Interestingly, though, when they first came up with the idea of He-Man, they came up with a handful of different concepts. And I was reading an article once where Brave Star was one of the concepts that they came up with, and they went with He-Man, but then Brave Star became a thing in itself. But yeah, I mean, Uncarded Reviews have said bootlegs are now custom products, and they're great. It's like the word bootleg has kind of gone, and it's now third party or custom product, or, you know, independently funded or whatever. So it is cool that we're living in an era where these things are kind of accepted and not shunned upon. I mean, that's not the same as the kind of the overseas bootlegs where you see like the Super Avenger team and it's like Spider-Man, Lightning McQueen, Superman. Like, you know, they're your bootlegs. Let's be honest, they are your bootlegs. Says here, Republic Bounty Hunter, the large corporations are just greedy and really killing creativity with their collect community. Yeah, I do agree. I think the shame of it is, you take a company like Hasbro, for example, for their 6-inch Marvel Legends. There's no display stand for your Marvel Legends. There just isn't one that's available. And they created one a little while back, and it came out with a Black Widow movie figure, the white suit one. And it was a really cool display stand. So it was like multifunctional. It could take the weight. It wasn't floppy. There was all little kind of sections where you could put blast effects and all that kind of stuff. And it was really cool. But then we got that one, and that was it. Like, there was no further
because it broke. 90% of them broke within minutes.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to mention that bit, but it was.
I know, because mine was one of them that broke live on camera.
Yeah,
and you could clearly see that I was putting no pressure through that thing, and it just went.
Yeah,
it just snapped in my hand.
Yeah. But it's but, you know, and then you get these companies that are going to go put the effort and the time and the energy into this because let's be honest, the sales on that aren't going to make the company millionaires.
No.
Like they're not going to, you know, they're not going to buy yachts and Ferraris and everything, but it might keep a company ticking over, which is, you know, quite good. Sorry, I've just had a. Oh, it's interesting. Just had an email come through to Geek Week, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it's cool. But it was really cool speaking to Ace. I'm not quite. I can't remember if I put the link to the website in the description of this video, but I will update it afterwards. I'm sure Sorrell will do the same. But just check them out because they really do a whole bunch of really cool products. And the Ramen Racer. I just want to say as well, because I did a lot of videos around the crowdfunded Ghost Rider car, let's just call it that. So I feel partially responsible for the Ramen Racer. Now that he said he was checking out videos, including ours, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, thank you, you're welcome. But yeah, I'm really excited to get mine. I'm really excited to get mine. I can't wait to see it. I think it just looks phenomenal, and yeah, just the menu idea is just really cool. Like to actually be able to go on and just kind of handpick the first sort of things that you want to sort of add to it. Annie H just said if you just go on and search Ramen Toy, it's the first hit. There we go.
He's not wrong.
No. Andy H, Brave Star, Eyes of the Hawk, Ears of the Wolf, Strength of the Bear, and Speed of the Puma. Yeah, that was a very cool cartoon. Without Googling, do you remember what his horse was called?
Nope, never watched it. I never watched Brave Star in my life.
Never watched Brave Star.
Nope.
Sorrel. It was like the original Space Wild West. It was like so cool. So cool.
I grew up with Sky. So I was lucky enough to have Sky. So I grew up with Fox Kids and it wasn't on there. So I grew up with Eerie Indiana, Goosebumps, I'm Afraid of the Dark, X-Men, Spider-Man, Hulk. Yeah. I grew up with that side of things. I didn't really touch on. It's like I was very young when like Thundercats and stuff were out and like on repeat anyway. Like I had all the VHSs for like Turtles, Thundercats, but I never had a Brave Star.
I'm going to give it to Uncarded Reviews. He came in first with 3030. Andy H 3030 or 3030. Yeah. But yeah, 3030 was his horse. But it was the same as like most of these cartoons where he was a horse, but then he turned into like a humanoid horse with a massive gun. Like it was just
oh my god.
it was just cool. It was a very cool, yeah. And the figures were about sort of 7 inches tall. They were that era of kind of big figures. Yeah, I'm still waiting for like these kind of things to come out as movies, like a Brave Star movie, a Thundercats movie, well overdue.
And did it have a special meaning at the end?
Yeah, I think it did actually.
You know, the Skeletor runs out and you know what, boobs?
Yeah.
Don't take drugs.
Speaking of, let's segue a little bit. So speaking of retro cartoons, Steve at Hasbro did put a post out on Instagram the other day, and it was him next to the Visionary artwork in the office. Yeah. And I was kind of like, I even commented, I went, is this a little hint that we're going to get Visionary toys in the future? Because that's a line I could get behind. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it's interesting. But while we are talking about Hasbro, let's talk about, I think everything ties in nicely. So the Ramen Racer is obviously a successful attempt of the last HasLab that was unfortunately very unsuccessful. And then they've had a new one launched this year to tie in with the Avengers Beyond World's Mightiest line, which is of course Giant Man. And it's not making giant moves, is it?
It's barely moving.
It is. What have you seen it? Have you seen what the
current count is 5,605.
So they're still like 4,400 away.
So since our last video, I think they've gained about 100 followers.
Wow.
I don't think it was much more than that.
Wow.
I'm sure it was on like 5,500 last time we looked.
That's really slow. And I'm not. I'm not saying for or against here, but I am surprised because the old Toy Biz version went for like 200 quid, $200, and this is up at 200. So I'm really surprised that a lot of people haven't jumped behind it really early on because
it's come out far too late. It's come out far too late.
Yeah. I think I think if they had released it earlier in the year when there was all the talk about the Avengers figures and the new Avengers line and everything, I think it probably would have done better. But I don't know. I'm just shocked that this wasn't sort of instantly funded, and I would like to think that maybe they're shocked as well that it's not closer to the mark yet.
Here we go. Last week's video, they were on 5,472. So this time last week.
So how many is that more?
So what we on now? So calculator, because I can't do that math because I'm thick. 5605 minus 5472. So that is 133. Oh my god,
Wow.
that's bad. They've gained 133 backers in a week.
Wow, that is
so that's
really
not gonna back. Because if you take it, if that's like a roundabout an average, they're gaining about 100 a week. They've only got 15 days to go, and they need 10,000.
Wow.
So they're only gonna get 6,000 maybe.
I mean, this could have a massive impact on the Marvel HasLab projects if they have two, because no property has had two consecutive failed HasLabs, have they?
The thing is, they're doing too many at once. The same people that are buying the Marvel one are buying the G.I. Joe one. The same people that are buying the G.I. Joes are buying the Star Wars. We all buy multiple products. So all they're doing is doing this all an injustice by having so many active things going on at once, or so many so close together. Because let's not forget, they've only just finished doing the G.I. Joe Dragonfly, the Hiss Tank, and literally the Ghost only funded like a few weeks ago, and now they've put another one out. It's like, how many hundreds of pounds do you think people have?
Yeah. Joby one said there, the Reaver lightsaber.
That should never have been a HasLab in the first place. The sabers get released regularly. There was no reason for that to even become a HasLab. And this is what I don't get about the current Giant Man. The current Giant Man, it's cool, but like Jabba's Palace was the same price, if not more, and bigger than this. And that wasn't even a HasLab, it was just released. So why was Giant Man a HasLab? It should have just been released.
Yeah. Uncarded Review said there the two failed consecutive ones were the Rancor and the Reaver lightsaber. I completely forgot about the lightsaber because as Sorrell just said, I kind of forgot about that as a HasLab. But if we take that into account that it was a lightsaber and a figure, this will be the first two consecutive kind of action figure related HasLabs that would fail. And it could have a massive impact because we obviously saw the Engine Avengers go up and everyone said it was overpriced and that there wasn't enough going into it. And then they've given us this fully articulated, full-sized kind of figure for an affordable amount for essentially the same amount that people are paying on the aftermarket for the previous Build-A-Figure, and it's not rocketed through.
Who asked for this? Was there a massive call for this figure?
No. Well, see, even me as like a...
I would have thought Ghost Rider would have had more pull than this thing.
Yeah. Like classic Avengers, kind of classic... Yeah, classic Avengers is definitely one of my Marvel Legends collections that I'm kind of keeping intact. But I would have rather have had a 6-inch Giant Man figure, like ungianted Giant Man figure. It's the same as what they've given. They've given us the Goliath figure from What If as a 6-inch figure. They've not made him big. And those figures kind of work in a smaller scale and they're more affordable. They're more displayable. So it's a big, anyone that's got the Sentinel or anyone that's got Galactus will know how big these are and how much real estate they take in your collection. And some people's collection space is very limited. So to have this kind of huge piece, it needs to be really something special, which the Sentinel was, and then I suppose at the same time Galactus was as well. So does Giant Man tick those same boxes? You know, who knows? I think we'll see a bit of a kind of FOMO effect hitting with a few people towards the end. I think we'll see like a lift in numbers, but is it going to be 4,000? You know, who knows?
Yeah, and I think Uncard Reviews hit it on the head there. Fing Fang Foom, again, it's one that we've been asking for years.
Yeah. You know what? I had an interview with Ryan Panagos. Remember back then? And I spoke to him about, I think it was around the time that MODOK came out, and we were talking about HasLabs and stuff like that. And I said Fing Fang Foom to him. I was like, if you have any pull, get Fing Fang Foom as a £200, $200 mark HasLab, and it will sell. And yeah, so I have said that. But Northern Nomad, how you doing? He said, hey dudes. Hey Northern Nomad. Let's move away from Marvel though. Let's talk Star Wars. Because we did have a couple of figure reviews this week, didn't we?
Yeah. So we've had the archive line, which helps people get old figures. Then we had the shiny, what do you want to call them? The shiny carbonized figures. Then we got the bounty collection kind of thing with the little coins in. Now we get in the puck versions of all the characters. So each of the little figures comes with the little plate and the little puck and everything to stand them on, but they are basically holographic versions of some of your favorite characters. So we've got the Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano, I believe that's Boba Fett, and then we've got Han Solo and Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yeah. I really like these.
They're cool, but
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm a Star Wars mini collector. I collect a very limited amount of Star Wars, but when I saw these, I was like, these are cool. Like, it's something different. It's something that gives you something in your display. You know,
Axe Woves, yeah. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah. It gives you something in your display that is different. Like, you could get one of these and display them with a helmet or with a lightsaber, or like they don't have to be part of the figure collection.
I could imagine if you were like a Boba Fett cosplayer or a Mandalorian cosplayer, having that Han Solo puck and be able to hold it for photos while you're dressed as Mandalorian could be a pretty cool photo op. Because it's the physical, representation of that, and that's cool.
Yeah, these definitely have potential.
To me, it feels like for me, this feels like when DC made the blacklight versions and they put the blacklight in the pops. This feels like it's in the same realm of that. This is Hasbro's version of like a light up product to rival the DC one.
Yeah, definitely.
This is their interpretation of it. I can imagine that Wave 1's going to include the little pucks, just like the Blacklight series did for DC.
Mm-hmm.
They'll sell so many with the light boxes, and then they'll give us a Wave 2, which will just be the card back figures. And then you can put them on the with the little stand for the bounty.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a line.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
This is going to be a line going forward. It's an easy way for them to reuse a mold and give it to us without any kind of artwork going into it. It is literally just printed on the blue translucent plastic.
But translucent plastic again isn't the strongest. It's always been one of Hasbro's weaker products because it does break quite easily.
Yeah. I do want to read something though. I'm not going to say who posted it, but it was one of the independent retailers. Did you see this?
No.
So this is on. I'm not going to say names just because whatever. But I did find this quite interesting in regards to distribution and stuff around these.
Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, yeah.
So they put down. I'll just paraphrase. I'll go through it. But they basically said that this is an update on the hologram line that went live the other night. So they didn't have anything more to update. Only just when things are going to go around. They are only being allocated one of the figures from the line, and that was Bo-Katan, which isn't really their first choice because she doesn't appear as a hologram throughout the saga. So they were quite annoyed about that. The others are either being exclusive to the big corporations or not being brought into the UK. So they kind of went off on a little bit about Hasbro Pulse and all the rest of it. So you got what happened there? Am I boring you?
Mate, I have been up since like 5 o'clock this morning. Sorry about that.
I was like,
Oh my god, that's the first time
oh,
I've
you
ever done
just
that.
died on me. I was like, did
Do
Sorrel
you
just
know what?
die?
In post production, someone needs to put the Windows sound effect over that. I'm here. I'm
I
alive.
was like, where's he going? I thought you were taking the piss. But basically they just went down online on a bit of a tangent, saying about how these are being kept for Hasbro Pulse, and the independent retailers are getting very limited stock on very limited figures. So things like Bo-Katan, like people aren't going to go to the independent retailers to buy Bo-Katan because she's not sought after. Whereas if it was someone like Ahsoka or someone, then maybe that would have a bit more of a pull. But then people that are going to buy them are going to go to the big corporations and the big names. So yeah, it was just interesting. And then the thing is obviously, in order to be part of Hasbro Pulse, you have to pay for the extra premium kind of to have the free delivery and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting to hear that the independent retailers here in the UK are kind of struggling a little bit and not getting the support when it comes to these new lines that could potentially bring in new customers.
Yeah, which is surprising because each of these are a exclusive to a certain brand as well. Like obviously, normally anything that goes out for like Target and stuff, we just get through our regular online retailers because each of these are a different brand. So the Mandalorian is exclusive to Pulse and Shop Disney. Han Solo is going to be exclusive to Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, The Chosen Prime, and Toy Geek. The Black Series Axe Woves is an Amazon exclusive. Bo-Katan is Target, and Ahsoka is Walmart. So normally when that happens, we just get them all through like Kapow or Indband or whoever it may be, Star Action or whatever. We tend to get them from whoever gets them first, kind of thing. But I don't know. It sounds like Hasbro being a bit more stingy with the distribution this time around, which is a bit odd, and they're trying to make us go through Hasbro Pulse, I suppose, or the Disney store.
So yeah, interesting, very interesting.
For the first time, to be fair, this is the first time I've not seen them go greedy on the price. $34.99. I don't think that's too bad.
No, it's not. It's
to say that you are getting a light up little puck, I mean, you are getting the full. If you look at what's in the box, because there's if I just bring up another photo here, like here's the Ahsoka one. So you are getting the figure, all the accessories for that figure, and you're getting the big light up puck part with the clip-on price sticker, whatever you want to call it, bounty sticker. So I mean, it's not a bad product for $34.99 in dollars. I mean, what's that going to be in British pounds? About 30 quid.
Yeah,
we already paid 20, 24, 25 quid a figure now anyway.
Yeah, I really like them. I'm very, very tempted. Andy has said that Mando's the only one that's $34.99 in pounds. Bo and Han are both under 30, which I'm tempted though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm it's the first Star Wars figure that's come out in a long time that's made me kind of go, I could get on them. Just because I think it looked quite cool. Even just to kind of go with my Mando setup, like I've got the helmet, I've got all that kind of stuff with it. So to have kind of Ahsoka maybe as like a light up hologram would be quite cool. I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think this is one step away from them because, like, if they gave us like the Obi-Wan Kenobi, everyone's gonna be doing the, this is I'm reaching out to all the Jedi in the galaxy. Do not go to the temple. It's that Order 66 moment, and that's going to be cool. Then if they gave us the holographic versions of Anakin, and they could do so many cool bits from the franchise with that.
Yeah. Joby One said Cody, there, like maybe they do
as well.
Palpatine, Leia, Ezra, Cody, Yoda. I mean, I think the list you're giving out there is what Sorrell said, is that we will get those characters. We'll get the more desired characters without the lights.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to have to go back and get the lights. And let's look at it from a business point of view. They, but they could basically. Whoa, Shelley. Shelley, I have trouble sleeping sometimes, so I listen to Jacob's reviews and my sleeping minutes. Wow. Maybe I'm in the wrong business. Maybe I'm in sleep.
I was more concerned that Joey B1 referred to me as Papa Bear. If that's his nickname for me, I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, that is a little bit.
Papa Bear.
It's fair enough. Gets me clicks, Shelley. I'm cool with that. It's I'm going to do some sleep videos. That's what I'm going to do.
ASMR.
Some AMSR, whatever it's called. But no, I think that if you look at it from a business point of view, I think what they've done is they've released the least sought after characters or the less sought after characters, and then with the lights, and then they'll release the more desired characters without the lights, because then it gives them an opportunity to go back and do other packs with lights but at a higher price tag or with less desired characters.
Or just sell the light and call it an accessory pack.
There is
And
that.
charge $24.99 for the light.
Yeah. So by throwing in Ahsoka, by throwing in Boba Fett and stuff like, or Han, there's a couple of decent ones in there, but they're not all really sought after ones. So I think we'll get the other characters. I just think it will be at a later date. Cool, Shelley, that's a good idea. You could read books. I think I'm gonna start narrating. I'm gonna start doing narration videos.
Don't do ASMR. ASMR is the creepiest thing on the planet. I don't know how people can sleep that. It's somebody whispering in your ear. It's creepy.
It is very strange.
And you get these weird people doing the whole, doing these role play ones, and no.
Eating cereal in front of my microphone and stuff. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm
going to nibble on your ears while you try to sleep. Num, 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 num. No thanks, you creepy weirdo.
Let's do bubble wrap.
The thing is, Review Spot does it, and this is not a shade by any means, but Review Spot does it. Have you seen his?
No.
So, like, once a month, he'll put a compilation of all, because he does the bit at the beginning where he goes, good ASMR moment, and as he's pulling the packaging out, you hear the sort of, and then as he cuts all the rope ties, you hear the. So, like, he basically will put the entire month's compilation of him removing things from boxes as, like, an ASMR video, and he calls it Action Figure ASMR.
Nice.
It's a good bit. It's a good way to reuse your content. I'll give him that. It's good for the clip.
That's wicked. That is wicked. Yeah, I've got about 5 hours worth.
Someone's selling up the collection.
No, it bothers me when it comes to, just quickly, because I am selling some things off, but it does bother me when it comes to selling things that people don't invest in good packaging. That just really annoys me, because you can get a roll of bubble wrap like that for like a tenner.
Yeah.
Like, it's massive, and then you can get. I've got like these boxes, like actual boxes, right? That you can like fold up. They're small parcels still, and all the rest of it, and you can get like 30 of them for like 15 quid.
Yeah, I do the same.
You add that to like the price of your sale, and you're covering yourself. And I don't know. I've had some really shady packed things in the past. Being a collector, I've had things turn up where how they've even got to me in one piece is beyond me.
Bubble envelopes.
So, yeah, but there we go. So bubble wrap ASMR video coming soon. So I'm gonna sit there. Oh no, it'll just fell over. It'll just hit me. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna go through 3 meters and pop every single one into the microphone.
Before we go, have you seen the world's smallest pop vinyls now? Have you seen these little bad boys? Look at this.
What?
A tiny little oogie boogie. And the best part is from? And the best part is, hang on.
Actually comes out.
Yeah. Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Where is that from? I need it now.
So basically, they're called Itty Bitties.
I've seen those. Yeah.
And they basically you get a pack of 4. One of them's random. You can see the other 3 that you're gonna get. So I've got Lock, Shock, and Barrel and Oogie Boogie, and you get this little fancy box to keep them in, and they stack.
Yeah, I need to get.
So I got that pack, and then I got this one which had both versions of the mayor in it. So I've got 2 sets out of 3 now, so I just need 1 more set. And they're basically, the cool part is the stack. So when you put them on your shelf, the stack like that.
Oh mate, how much are they for a pack of 4?
So a pack of 4 is $12.99, which I didn't think was that bad. About the same price as a regular pop vinyl.
All right, I might have to hit you up for those, because they are not selling them anywhere near me.
No, I got them in Wakefield Comic 616, didn't he? He had all 3 of the other ones in. I went back in today to see, the other day, to see if he had the final one, because I stupidly didn't buy it on the day. He's like, nope, long gone. I'm like, ah! He's going to get
Ah,
restocks because they're doing
he
the
is.
Five Nights at Freddy ones next, so I'll be getting them.
Cool. Very quickly, Republic Bounty Hunter has put in one question at the end. If you all had to be buried with just one figure when you pass, which would it be? I don't know. What?
Morbid.
Yeah.
Who would I
I
get
don't know.
buried with and why?
Yours would be some kind of horror figure. Let's be honest. It's just.
That's all I've got to choose from now. Hang on.
I actually don't know. I'd probably change my mind. It's like, no, not that one. Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, I really don't know. Some kind of Spider-Man, probably. But yeah, I mean,
probably Sam from Trick or Treat.
yeah,
We've got with Sam.
yeah, I don't know. I tell you what, I did buy this week though. I haven't got it in here, but from Sainsbury's, 20 quid, you can get a 2-meter high Jack Skellington with bendy arms.
I've seen them. Yeah.
I
They're
literally
cool.
took my eldest for an eye appointment in Specsavers in there, and I saw it and I was like, I'm buying it. Like, there's no I'm not leaving this shop without this Jack Skellington. So I got home, put him up, and yeah, my kids were quite impressed.
Whatever you do, don't go to Lidl. Do not go to Lidl.
Why?
Because they've got like instead of smiley faces, they're now smiley pumpkin shapes. They've got turkey dinosaurs. Instead of turkey dinosaurs, it's turkey bats. They've got all Halloween. They've got Halloween cereal. They've got Halloween pasta. They've got Halloween nuggets. They've got Halloween everything. And they've even got a pumpkin pizza, which sounds disgusting, but was freaking phenomenal.
Wow. Wow. Cool.
And because it's Lidl, everything's like a quid, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
So you put like 3 of them in the bag.
That's it. You just stock up. Right, but that kind of brings us to the end of this week. So we've had a really awesome chat with Ace from Ramen Toys. Do go and check him out. We sent Sorrell off to sleep with my luring ASMR voice. We had a bit of toy review. We talked Ahsoka, we talked Loki. One thing I will say before we do go, Andy, you're a star. Andy just said he sent me a link to those pops. Thank you very much, Andy. What I will, and then Shelly said Amazon has offers on the mini pops too. There we go. I'm gonna go and check those out. What I will say is we have got a couple more interviews like that one we had with Ash today. We have a couple more lined up for future weeks. So it's do tune in to future episodes. We will of course let you guys know ahead of it so that you know who we're speaking to in the show. But I'm very excited for the next couple that we've got coming up. I think they're going to be quite exciting.
Yeah.
And we're in talks for a couple more as well. So we will have a couple of them. And we will put the interviews out as videos as well. So you can just watch the interviews and refer back to them if you need to. So anything you want to add this week, Sorrel?
Night.
Yeah, he needs to get to bed. Cool. Right, guys. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute joy speaking to you this week. Of course, do check out our channels, follow us and all that kind of stuff where you can. And do tune in next week for more stuff that hasn't happened yet. So there we go. Where we he's playing up to it now. Of course, I'm Jacob's Toys, one and only SuperSorrell. Till next week, keep it geek.